10 seconds to go. Mr. President, I thank you for giving me an opportunity of expressing my views regarding the memorable resolution moved by our revered leader. I feel happy to rise to give my wholehearted support to the resolution. The resolution has already received support from a large number of speakers who have preceded me, and they have discussed the necessity, the utility, and the propriety of moving and passing the same. They have discussed the resolution from various points of view, and I do not want to take the precious time of the House by repeating the same arguments. I would simply like to make a few observations with your permission. It has been admitted in all quarters that the Constituent Assembly, which is to frame a constitution for a free India, is the outcome of untold sufferings and immense sacrifices of the masses of this country. Therefore, the constitution to be framed should be such as to promote the interests of the masses and to benefit the country as a whole. The framers of the Constitution, who are the elected representatives of the people, are highly responsible persons, and they would, in the due discharge of their responsible duties, frame the Constitution cautiously and wisely in the best interests of all concerned. The principles to be followed in framing the Constitution and the provisions to be made herein have been enunciated by the resolution. It has been fortunately and appropriately laid down in the resolution that in the Constitution shall be guaranteed and secured to all the people of India social, economic, and political justice, equality of status, of opportunity, etc. It has also been very clearly and elaborately laid down in the Constitution that adequate safeguards shall be provided for minorities, backward and tribal areas, and depressed and other backward classes, and this should be quite sufficient to allay the fears and suspicions, if any, of the minorities and others. Mr. Deputy Speaker, Sir, last year has been a year of great challenge and of determined response by the government. It has been a year of achievement in the face of great difficulties. Some difficulties were caused by disruptive forces both from within the country as well as from abroad, and some other difficulties were caused by the weather. When Indira Gandhi launched the Green Revolution about 50 years ago, she too was faced with similar difficulties. It was her vision that has given our economy the strength and resilience with which it has been able to meet the present crisis. We have been able to meet the present crisis entirely through our own efforts and endeavor. We have not carried the begging ball to anyone. We have not compromised on our freedom of action. At that time, her strategy was opposed by many experts. It was opposed by certain narrow minded elements in the opposition. She prevailed because of her faith in the efforts of our farmers, because of her confidence in the ability of our scientists and because of her trust in the performance of our extension workers. She assured farmers of the required inputs at reasonable prices despite the burden of subsidy on our economy. She gave the farmers remunerative prices as the basic principle of the new strategy. She nationalized the banks to give easy credit to the farmers. She initiated a system of procurement throughout the country to stabilize the prices that the farmers would get. She ensured that her strategy looked into the interests of all sections of our rural community, not just the farmer but also the small and marginal cultivator, landless laborer, and even the rural artisan. We doubled our output in 2 decades because of her integrated vision of rural India, her sympathy and understanding for each segment of our rural society, because of her careful attention to inputs, costs, and subsidies. Today, after 4 years of bad monsoon, 2 years of poor rains, followed by 2 years of severe drought, we can hold our heads high and look to the future with confidence because she laid the foundations which were sure and secure. Our drive to maximize the crop output is meeting with encouraging success. We hope to limit the shortfall to 10%, but the problem is not entirely over. During the last year, we have done much to mitigate the distress of drought relief. Programs have been handled efficiently by all the states. The ceiling of assistance has been raised to the high level of rupees 2000 crore, with almost half of it earmarked for Gujarat and Rajasthan, as they were the most affected by drought. Surcharges on taxes have been used so that the burden does not fall on the poor and only the rich bear this burden. Using food grain buffer stocks, we have launched programs to generate employment, to build assets, and to protect our people against future droughts. Through useful relief schemes, we have ensured that expenditure on relief became expenditure on development. We have rushed fodder from areas of surplus to areas of scarcity. Special schemes for drinking water have been implemented, and we have taken up special programs for boosting the demand for the output of the village artisans and the handloom weavers. This is very important because these are the sections which are normally left out and they face very severe consequences of the side effects of drought. The genesis of the Green Revolution was the scientific breakthrough which brought in new seeds. It was also a complete package of inputs to the irrigated land leading to surplus in food grains. We must now ensure that there is no reduction in our food grains production. The scientific community must be encouraged into providing answers to the next phase of the Green Revolution, of taking it to new areas, expanding it to new crops, and making it resilient to the vagaries of the weather.